Startup Town was really the first co-working space in Pittsburgh, and we didn't even know what co-working was 7 years ago. It wasn't in Pittsburgh's vocabulary. So things are happening at an accelerated pace, and there's only more to come. Startup Town was formally put together about 5 years ago. It became a 501c3 federal nonprofit. But about 7 years ago, I shuttered the corporate design business. And I was in this building and I had a lot of square feet available to lease. I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do with it. And so my adventure into co-working and supporting young entrepreneurs was sort of haphazard early on. We loosely term what we do Co-working Plus. We're about two things. We're about supporting young businesses and young entrepreneurs, but we're also about supporting community redevelopment. Part of what I'm looking to do is to bring as many young companies, as many young people as possible into the Uptown community to both live and work. What's happening right now is really important in our evolution as a country, as a global community. It's about creating an entrepreneurial culture. It's not just about supporting young businesses. Business can take the form of technology, social innovation, the whole maker movement that's going on, as well as the arts. All of those endeavors in Pittsburgh are really heightened at the moment. There's so many young people staying in Pittsburgh. There's lots of activity across all of those communities. What gets me up every morning really is to participate in building that entrepreneurial culture. And it's not just about STEM experience. It's about a whole range of experience that also includes the social, the tech, the maker, and the arts, and a strengthened psychology of what it means to live on the planet today. You know, in my generation, there were people who started businesses and there were people who wanted to be employed. And the gap was pretty wide. In today's world, there's a lot more young people who are thinking about how to live a creative life, how to live a life that's more about what they want to do and how they want to do it and how they want to live on top of the planet. A co-working space just isn't about working together. It's about living together during the day and expanding your opportunity to learn and to survive ultimately.
I am entrepreneur in residence for Carnegie Mellon Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship, and I help students and faculty, students undergraduate all the way through PhD, that have an idea that they want to explore to see if it has commercial potential. Unlike 10 years ago, there are so many resources, and part of your job as an entrepreneur is to figure out who they are and what they do. So I would spend, just in general, resourcing a lot, researching and interviewing people and talking to people, because ultimately, and you'll find that even as students, it's who you know is as important as what you know. I used to work for the Allegheny Conference, and I began to research the value of entrepreneurship and startups. Realized when I saw the study that 62% of the net new jobs come from startups and small businesses. And for the very large businesses, you know, like the Alcoas, PNCs, and all this, it was less than. And even though you don't need whatever they offer then, 6 months from now or 9 months from now, you're going to remember, oh yeah, I talked to somebody. Secondly, just research in general. That many people just want to get started. And one of the things that I do with all the startups that I help is we do a lot of research. We research into the market, research into what we call customer discovery. If it's whether it's you're selling, you know, B2B, business to business, or B2C to consumers, is just to go out and talk about the problems people are having. Find a big problem to solve, you know, where there's a real need, and that, combining the resources, that's a better formula for success. I'm an incubator. This is where the ideas hatch. Alpha Lab at called their accelerators. So they take what's being done and they try to, what we call reach escape velocity. They actually then can reach orbit and stand out on their own.
So I'm the general manager for Tech Shop Pittsburgh, which means that I kind of oversee all operations and the overall business for this particular location. Tech Shop's an open access, membership-based, do-it-yourself workshop. So what that means is that we are open to anybody who wants to come in here of any experience level, ages 12 and up, and people can come in here and get access to all of the tools and equipment that we have, and they can use it for whatever purpose they want. So differing from normal co-working spaces that primarily focus on providing space and office equipment, we provide, in addition to space and office equipment and conference rooms and stuff like that, we provide actual tools for manufacture. So as a byproduct of that, we also attract a different kind of workforce, I guess you would say. People, in addition to graphics designers and web developers and people who work in the digital realm, we have, or the bits, as Chris Anderson would say, we also have people who work in the atoms, people who fabricate things, architects, designers, artists, engineers, which provides for a very diverse, collaborative ecosystem. So Alpha Lab is a very prolific and well-renowned and accomplished business accelerator in Pittsburgh. And they've been around for, I think, almost more than a decade. And they just opened up a separate one dedicated explicitly for hardware products last year. So that's just one microcosm of why this is a very exciting time, because there's all these co-working spaces that are developing. There's a bunch of new accelerators and incubators and tons of opportunities for people to start new companies.
The beauty shop just very fundamentally is a shared office space. But I think what comes out of that is a shared community of professionals that fit within a certain demographic that seem to be doing similar things, right? And so when you put these people together in one physical space, what emerges is a social community. Don't be an island. Plug into a community. Identify those nodes in the network that are important to you and get close, because there's a lot of support, both professionally and socially and materially and ideationally. There's just a lot out there. So be sure to plug into that network. And that's one of the things that Pittsburgh offers that's unique to, I think, bigger cities and smaller cities. We sort of sit in this sweet spot of size, wherein we are big enough that there are enough people and there are enough resources, but we're small enough in that you don't get lost in the ocean. So you could actually plug into the right group. And co-working has emerged as a solution to the problem of being disparate and being disconnected and being on your own, right? Technology connects us, but not physically. And so co-working solves that problem. Co-working brings people together, and it becomes a physical manifestation of the social network. The people that are part of this innovation ecosystem right now are starting things. They're not just going to drop it in the next 2 years. Everybody that you see down the hallway there is starting something that will grow in 10 and 15 and 20 and 30 years will be manifested in some way, shape, or form. And so there are 100 little things or 1,000 little things happening right now. Maybe some portion of those will develop into prosperous long-term businesses. We fundamentally believe that a more diverse ecosystem is a more robust and sustainable and rewarding ecosystem to be in.
I run the hardware store. The hardware store is a co-working space that sort of has a focus on freelance workers here in the city of Pittsburgh. And a lot of the people that work in the hardware store are in media or content marketing. So we have a lot of videographers and people that podcast and run podcast networks. We also have web designers and web developers and graphic designers. So if it's media related or sort of associated with content marketing, this is a good place to work because this community is very focused on creating and strengthening that freelance economy here in the region. Fundamentally, everybody has ideas, and the difference between successful business people and not successful business people are the folks that can figure out how to turn their ideas into something that's going to produce cash flow so that they can grow in a methodical way. I would also say that it's absolutely crucial that you get involved with the broader Pittsburgh network of small business people and entrepreneurs. Pittsburgh's really sort of lucky right now is that we have this very strong entrepreneurial community that's very welcoming and full of resources and capacity that can lead to investment from angel investors. It can lead to just faster track to get your product to market. There's a lot of capacity here. Being an entrepreneur in Pittsburgh means that you start creating a new expectation around this active entrepreneurship. What most people get to experience around entrepreneurship is a more steady, methodical growth of a small company. And we want Pittsburgh to be known for that rather than folks always chasing this dream, this sort of reality TV show, Shark Tank dream of starting a company. So I think that our hope is that entrepreneurship in Pittsburgh means that no matter how big or small your idea is, no matter how much money it's going to generate 10 years down the road, that you have opportunities and resources to help you get your business off the ground, that you're able to find people in town that are interested in seeing you start a business, even if it employs only 2 or 3 people, because that's what we think the region needs. We think lots of small companies doing lots of cool small things makes for a healthier economic outlook for the region, but also makes it so that there's more opportunities for different kinds of people.